Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to my deep guide and another edition of Q&A, where I gather the questions that you ask all over the channel and attempt to answer them to the best of my ability. This time with a case of sniffles because yay, it's a late spring, so the allergy season is upon us. Hooray! Alright, let's commence. If I spend hundreds of dollars on a device, I sure as hell better be able to use every feature without having to shell out more for a subscription. This is in regards to the Remarkable Paper Pure, but generally for a Remarkable or any other type of device. And this is a rather important point because previously, people would kind of say like, oh, it's just Remarkable that it has a subscription. But now we're having like iFlyTech and some other also companies are coming out with this type of model where it becomes obvious why they are doing it, because for a business model, if you have a continuous revenue stream such as a subscription, that's either a supplemental or a primary revenue if you have a big enough of a customer base. I totally understand the dislike for subscriptions in general. I'm not a fan of them at all. I come from an older type of a generation where owning a perpetual software license was a normal thing. Yes, programs were quite expensive. Professional programs were very, very expensive, but you buy them and you own them in perpetuity. And, we've seen, shift with Autodesk, Adobe, and then everybody else basically following along into this model of you not owning anything. We're seeing that shift in the world of e-paper devices, and I think that the only instance where introducing a subscription can be excusable is if you are truly offering a cloud-based service, but not like Remarkable that they force, artificially force something that device can absolutely handle locally. For example, OCR recognition, which absolutely can be handled locally, but it's artificially offloaded as a cloud service, and therefore it becomes a subscription kind of a thing. So it needs to be a proper cloud-based service, something that the device genuinely cannot do locally, but it also has to be a genuinely useful function for the device and integration of the platform and everything else. Anything other than that is pure exploitation, as far as I'm concerned at least. Is this monitor being reviewed by Voya or Winnie the Pooh? Great video as always. As a person who works outdoors a lot, which is what turned me onto e-ink tablets to begin with, I really wish someone would manufacture a laptop type device with a monitor like this. That would be so amazing. I can't really remember if this was in regards to the Modos or the Dasung monitor, one of those monitors. And actually Lenovo did try something really, really weird, but it never came out to the Western market. They actually released a laptop device that I tried so hard to get my hands on, but it was limited market and limited availability. But that laptop actually had two screens, had a normal LCD screen, and then on the back side of the laptop thing, it had an e-ink screen as well. So you had an attempt like that. Obviously it flopped completely, and obviously it was just localized like that, and obviously it costed a lot. But there were attempts at doing something like that. I wish so too, that we could have like maybe a laptop that has dual screens, but you can rotate it. So when you want to use the e-ink screen, you flip it and you're using the e-ink screen and the LCD is out there. Or when you use and you need colors or something like that, you just flip it over and then you have an LCD thing. That I think would be like a really, really cool solution to something like this. Absolutely, it would be expensive, but you would cover all of the needs that you might have from a computer, because if you're typing, reading, or anything like that, flip it around and you have a screen, and then you use your e-ink thing. And in the occasions where you absolutely have to use colors or anything like that that LCD provides, you flip it around and there it is. 945 NM camera shutter, 1018 human eye, 1100 TX, 1129 TX human eye. I'm slightly concerned. Okay, so today is April 2nd, 2026. Have these issues been fixed yet? 4 months have passed since this. Has there been a new firmware update for Boox Note Max? I really want to get one. Big screen, good writing, but the ghosting, the seeming lack of hardware support, no front light, and the fact that this only supports Android 12, which isn't that going to be no longer supported soon. So apps are likely to stop working at some stage. Is giving me pause. Do you think a new Boox Note Max with a front light is in the offing? The tab C is no good, so as far as I can tell, because the writing experience is subpar, even though the color would be nice. This kind of falls into the same category as before, and it's multiple questions, but let me address one of the first ones is like, has there been a new update? Yes, Note Max has received update 4.2, and I've been testing 4.2 on other devices. I haven't updated my Note Max, but what I'm seeing from update 4.2 is enough to actually have me consider updating Note Max, my personal Note Max, to 4.2. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to be doing that because there are still some things that I don't like, but it's a night and day situation when comparing the catastrophe of 4.1. 4.2 addresses majority of these things, returns some of the things that were taken away, and it tries to kind of improve things forcefully because it just doesn't, it's kind of dumb in a way, but majority of stuff did work and is updated well. As for the issues that have them been fixed, I don't know. I haven't tested the ghosting issues on the using the 4.2, but I haven't seen the ghosting issues actually be addressed in any meaningful way on the new Go 10.3 Gen 2. Either the Lumi or the non-Lumi version, they also suffer from ghosting, and they are running OS version 4.2. So I am really doubtful that the OS 4.2 is going to resolve issues on the Note Max. As for, other stuff, well, your concerns are your own. Only you can know, what are the pros and cons of your concerns. So I can't really comment on that. As for the new Note Max, well, 4 months ago, we've had people saying we're full on, like, oh, I know that Note Max is going to get discontinued. What do you say to that? And it's like, we're 4 months in, it's not discontinued. It's still on sale and all of that kind of stuff. So the state of internet and just the state of opinions, they are formed on more and more increasingly unverified, just babble and speculation and guesstimations. And then that gets to be echoed, amplified, and degenerated as well because of a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. So it degenerates with every repeat. So I wouldn't really hedge any of my bets onto any speculations whatsoever. And my advice still stands. If you want to buy a device, look at it how it is right now. Like where it is right now, warts and all. Are the shortcomings something that you can't or don't want to go over versus the benefits and the strong points of the device? Obviously, this will vary from person to person and from needs to needs. So only you can actually answer to yourself personally, is this device good for me? But do not buy a device in hopes that it's going to get improved or better. That I can absolutely advise you not to do. And also what you shouldn't do is hedge your bets and hoping that a new device is going to come out. If the current device is not good enough and you know in your heart of hearts that you're going to have FOMO or that you're going to have buyer's regret or remorse, and that if you buy this device and 4 months later a new one comes out and that's going to make you feel bad, well then don't buy this one. It really comes down to just doing your research and really in-depth examining what are your actual needs. Anything else beyond that, just kind of finding, oh, what's new and things like that, you're way into the FOMO territory and all of that kind of stuff, and nothing good comes out of that. I don't get why recently almost every new company chooses logo which resembles a butthole. This is in regards to the Modos Enchanter screen. And that is a very interesting observation. I would like to kind of see like a list of companies that you had in mind. I think I know what you mean. Maybe the LLMs or the AIs are now designing the company logos, and maybe AI has a fascination of some sort or preference, or maybe, you know, it learns something about us, what we as humans react to and respond to well. Maybe, you know, part of its training is like, hey, there's a butthole type of a logo and a non-butthole type of a logo, and which ones are humans more, yeah, likely to interact with? Could you explain by making a more detailed video on how to set up a private cloud on Supernote? It seems complicated, doesn't it? And this is, yeah, obviously with Supernote and private Supernote cloud. No, I addressed this in a separate video, but I don't think I've addressed it in Q&As before. And the reason why I won't be doing that is simply because there's way too many things that can go wrong if you don't know what you're doing. The instructions that are provided on the Supernote site are perfectly adequate for somebody who has the tech expertise and the know-how expertise to do something like that. So if you are thinking of doing this, and if upon reading the instructions that are laid out and you feel that it's completely out of your comfort zone, then unfortunately this service is way over your head, and you should look for somebody in your immediate environment or somebody who can actually help you with that and do something like that. My advice also would be, do not rely on LLM doing this for you and helping you. Are they capable of doing that? Yes, eventually, but again here you have to have enough know-how and expertise to recognize immediately when, not if, but when the LLM is going to start hallucinating and talking absolute garbage, because they will do that. That's something that they constantly do with absolute 100% certainty. The only way for you to catch it in the act and recognize that it's BS, call it out and, you know, redirect it into being an actual useful tool until its next hallucinatory derailment, you have to have enough knowledge to recognize when something is off. If you don't, it's a serious gamble and you can ruin your system quite easily. Voya, do you still think Note Air 3C is the best for writing and speed? And this is in regards to the Boox Note Air 5C. Well, no, because it's old, so newer devices are usually a little bit faster and a little bit more economical, battery life is going to be better, and all that kind of stuff. The thing that I love about Note Air 3C and where I think it excels is not speed and things like that, but it's actually the writing feel. I think it's superior to 4C and 5C, absolutely it is. And the rendering of colors and the screen itself simply provides a nicer looking image, nicer looking colors. It was less cold, it was a little bit cleaner to kind of read through it. I've done like major revision and recalibration of the DAF now that I've had a decent amount of data points from 30-something devices, to kind of see like where do devices range and then tighten up ranges, and yeah, just kind of tightening up the whole methodology to maybe get it ready to be released. It's going to be interesting to compare and see how do Note Air 3C and 5C compare directly to each other, and if my personal impression is just that, subjective impression and bias, or is it maybe a reflection of something that's quantifiable and more objective. Have an iPad Air 5 and want to invest in a Supernote Nomad for travel. Thank you for sharing what you have and what your plans are for what purposes. Remarkable's hardware is second to none. A delicious tactile feeling and oh, I think I need to read this in a different accent. Or is everybody still sensitive about everything right now? Should I do this or not? Nah, everybody's gonna get their pitchforks and be like, well, a delicious tactile feeling and color contribute significantly to my daily work. The reason I returned my Paper Pro in 2024 is because the software is so restricted and featureless that it wound up getting in the way of me wanting to write and annotate my way. Supernote software and Remarkable hardware would be my ideal device. That's a very important point and a differentiation between what you as a consumer want. So Remarkable is following that Apple type of thing, where the mentality is we know best, we know way better than what you know, and you're dumb as a consumer. That can work, but only if what you offer is really, really, really ironclad good, which is not the case with Remarkable at all. I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to like, that's a you thing, that's not a me thing. Objectively, Remarkable software platform is nowhere near that kind of category of implementation. Neither is Supernote. None of them are. All of them have faults and strong points. However, you also have a bunch of people who don't care about developing or having their own workflow, and they want to be told what to do. And in those cases, platforms like Remarkable and Apple, well, that then works because they will not question it. They will just simply say like, oh, well, that's what we do around here. And if that fulfills your usability needs of that device, well, then that's great. That works. However, if you try to kind of weir out from that environment and do what you just said, which is I want to organize my way, I want to write my way, I want to use it my own way, that's where these platforms don't really work. Hardware-wise, yes, it has excellent hardware, but it's fairly fragile. And for me personally, yes, as an object to interact with, past Remarkable devices up to Remarkable Paper Pure were really delicious. It was something that you want to interact with. It's very pleasant, tactile type of an interaction and feeling, but they're always felt really fragile because of that precious kind of thing. The thing I love about Supernote Manta, for example, is that it doesn't feel precious. It's a tool that makes me feel free, that I can chuck it in a bag, that I can really use it wherever I want, however I want, and not worry about it. And while I lose that precious feeling, gaining the freedom that the Supernote software platform allows you to do, and the freedom of usability of not worrying about the device, well, that outweighs the preciousness, at least for me personally, and I know that it does have that effect on other people as well. Hi, thanks for your work. I have a question. I viewed a few of your videos, but I don't understand if the writing paper-like experience is better on the Note Max or on the Tab XC. Thank you for watching. It's unquestionably way better on the Note Max. It's not even a competition because Note Max has a very nice kind of paper-like surface. It's not super raspy or anything, but it's very pleasant to use and very pleasant to interact with. XC, on the other hand, is basically a very smooth type of a glass surface. It's not like iPad and things like that, but it's a much smoother surface. And also when compared with the other pen and a different type of nib that the XC is using, and remember, it doesn't have an EMR capability, it has an active pen, and as such it has a special active pen that you basically can only use that one reliably. That means that the writing experience on the XC is much smoother, much more slippery, and doesn't really have anything to do with paper-like type of feel. Firmware 4.2 began rolling out to the 10.3-inch devices in March 2026 and is currently hitting the Note Max. Is this true? Is 4.2 going to be better, perhaps? Well, I have to kind of say one correction. Yes, it has been rolling out to some of the 10.3-inch devices. It's very curious, so very curious, that the Go 10.3 Gen 1 keeps not getting the update 4.2. While the Gen 2 of Go 10.3, both versions already have 4.2, Note Max has 4.2, Note Air 5C has 4.2. I wonder why that might be. 4.2 is already much better than the 4.1. They have reversed on some of the completely idiotic decisions that they've introduced in 4.1. Not all of them, but some of the things are improved. I'll make a separate video on that to kind of go through all of that stuff once I experience all of the things. But stability is better. Yeah, the Pac-Man thing is gone, and a lot of stuff is kind of tightened up, And overall, it's a much more usable type of environment and solution. So the community pushback was loud and clear, and it's a good thing to see that Boox really didn't have much choice but to actually kind of, you know, get ahead and fix the blunder that they did with the 4.1. So 4.2 is thankfully better. Is it better than 4.0? Well, it does have those presets and most of the stuff is working. Some of the stuff is gone, but on a sum, I think that 4.2 has a better direction and slightly better usability than the 4.0. But as I mentioned before regarding Note Max, I'm really doubtful that it's going to fix the ghosting issue, because if it did, they would have fixed it by now, and we haven't seen that happening at all. All right, that's it from me for this edition of Q&A. Thank you so much for watching and for asking questions, and see you in the next video. Bye.